Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about what is a rail, functions of rails, types of rail sections, and we'll see the requirements of rail sections in our next videos. So coming to this is a track cross section, the typical cross section of a railway track. So this is a permanent way on the embankment. See, this is an embankment over which the permanent way is laid. I will explain you about this more in detail in our upcoming videos regarding the permanent way and its functions. So coming to today's video, our main topic is about rail. The rails on the track can be considered as steel girders, which are made up of high carbon steel to carry axial loads, and also to withstand wear and tear. So its main function is to transmit the load from the rolling stock to the sleepers. It is having sleepers beneath that. See, this is a sleeper. Its main function is to transmit the load from the rolling stock, that is the weight that is carrying over it, to the sleepers beneath that. And its second main function is to provide hard, smooth and uniform surface. It should be hard enough to resist the loads. It should provide a smooth and uniform surface for the wheels to roll on. The wheels of the vehicle that is moving over this rail. The rail should also bear the stresses developed due to the vertical loads. Whatever the vertical loads that are acting over this, and also the lateral or the braking forces. And also it need to resist some thermal stresses, that is the stresses developed due to change in temperature. It is located in different locations where the temperature may be varying due to the weather conditions. So it should be able to resist the temperature stresses, that is the thermal stresses, vertical loads and lateral forces. And the minimum wear should be done for the rail material, that is it should give minimum wear of the rail material. These are the functions of the rail. Now let me explain you what is a rail in detail about that. See, this is how they will look. This is how a rail will look. We know this. Coming to the general part, that is general introduction of the rail. Rail is similar to steel girders. These are placed to end to provide continuous and smooth level surface for the trains to move. These are connected end to end here. They are to provide continuous surface for the trains to move. We are having some standard lengths as per the Indian Railways codes. See, this is a length for BG. I will explain you what is gauge and the types of gauges we have in our upcoming videos. Please subscribe to my channel. This is the length for the broad gauge, say 13 meters. Just rounding off the value. Next, 11.89 meters for meter gauge, say 12 meters. We are just rounding off that value. Next, we'll see the types of rails. We have three types of rails. They are double-headed rails, bull-headed rails and flat-footed rails. This is a diagrammatic representation of that. See, the three types of rail sections are double-headed rails, bull-headed rails and flat-footed rails. We will see one by one. The first one we have is double-headed rail. The shape of the double-headed rail are dumbbell section. These were the rails which were used in the beginning, which were double-headed and consisting of dumbbell section. The idea behind using these rails was that when the head was worn out, in course of time, the rail can be inverted and reused. See, as I told you, we have head and foot. Whenever the head is worn out, they thought that they will just invert that and use the bottom foot as head. But as time passed, indentations were formed in the lower table, due to which smooth running over the surface at the top was impossible. That is, after usage, they found out the bottom table or lower table, the head got dented and smooth running was impossible, which led to introduction of the bull-headed rails. This was a failure Okay, this idea was a failure, because of which they had to introduce the next type, that is bull-headed rails. Okay, these are these double-headed rails are dumbbell section. The idea of this because was to replace, to invert and reuse that. Okay, whenever the head is worn out. Okay, next going to the second type, that is bull-headed rails. See, this is the second type, that is bull-headed rails. Bull-headed rails. In this type of rail, the head was made a little thicker as shown here, okay, and stronger than the lower part by adding more metal to it so that it can withstand the stresses. Okay, in the bull-headed rails, more metal is added to head or the top table to permit wear, and foot was made with less metal. Okay, to bear the stresses. The fastenings required with this are chairs and metal keys. We'll see that in our coming videos. After usage these rails, they found that lateral stability of this is less. Okay, as the more material is placed from the top or the top table or the head, there was no stability, as there was some less lateral stability. Again, this was failed. This was failed, because of which they had to introduce the third type, that is the flat-footed rails. Okay, see, this is the third type, that is flat-footed rails. Whenever I am saying head, this is the head, this is the web portion, and this is the foot portion. Okay, see, this is the view of that. This is how it is fixed. These are all the fixtures and fastenings to fix this. Okay, coming to the introduction part, these rails are also called as Vignol's rails. As these rails are invented by Charles Vignol's, they are called as Vignol's rails. 90% of railway tracks in world are laid with this Vignol's rails or flat-footed rails. Okay, initially the flat-footed rails were fixed to sleepers directly and no chairs and keys were required. Later on, due to heavy train loads, problems arise which lead to steel pairing plates between the sleeper and the rail, at rail joints and other important places. These are the rails which are most commonly used in India. Okay, these are the rails which are most commonly used in India. In the flat-footed rails, the foot is made thinner and wider than the head. Okay, these can be directly fixed to sleepers by using spikes. That was done initially, but later on, due to the heavy train loads, these were again fixed by using a steel bearing plate between the sleeper and the rail. Okay, yes, that is it for this video, guys. Please like, share, comment to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, that would greatly help me. I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you.